And you've touched on this a bit already, but just wanted to also talk about this hesitation. It's not just being cautious, and it's not just dragging out the process from the candidate perspective either. It's having impacts on companies, right, themselves. So, can you talk a little bit more about the impact that these prolonged hiring processes and, kind of the hesitation is having on both the companies as well as the candidates?
I mentioned the burnout.
Yeah.
There are just marketing teams or individuals on marketing teams who just feel like they're doing three jobs
Yeah.
in one, and there's been no additional compensation for those two additional jobs. And I also mentioned that the interview process seems to be taking even longer than normal, which already feels long for anybody going through an interview process. And so I'll share a cautionary tale for hiring managers. We're in the midst of doing a search for a pretty senior communications person. And we found some of the hiring manager loved her team, the panel interview loved her, the CEO loved her, but the interview process took really long. And by the time they extended our candidate the offer, things had evolved at her current company. She'd really started rethinking her client's commitment to the job because it was taking so long. And so despite the offer from our client being more money and better benefits, she ultimately declined the offer. And so there's another thing too for HR hiring managers, to consider, which may have played a role in the story I just told you. And it's what goes back to what we just talked about. Candidates who are employed are staying put.
Yeah.
They're reluctant to make the move to the unknown. So in this case, our candidate, wasn't unhappy where she was. She was just, this was a really nice opportunity for her. But in the end, it was safer for her to stay where she was, despite a nice offer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, doesn't it stand to reason that from the candidate's perspective, if a company is taking so long and dragging things out, first of all, there's just more time for other opportunities to arise, even if they're at the same company. But also,
Right.
it doesn't exactly make the hiring company look particularly decisive, right? I know there's sometimes extenuating circumstances and all manner of things.